Word is on October the 12th, Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz are going to bang it out. Shakur Stevenson defends his title against the rising William Zepeda. The talented Mr. David Morrell makes his return against Imam. But what they're not going to tell you is Alberto the Wasp Puello is defending his strap against no other than Subriel. Sub-Zero no Matias, which really should be the headliner of this card. It's not something you're going to hear around here, but hopefully somebody will explain it. Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Today I want to talk about something that nobody's probably going to talk about, even though everybody is pretty excited about the card. We know that Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz are the main event. We know that the co-main event is Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda. We know that the talented Mr. David Morrell is coming back after his last fight against Benavidez, where he was unsuccessful against a guy named Imam. And we also know that one of my guys, Matias, is coming back with an opportunity to get a strap. A WBC strap. We all know Subriel Matias as being the boogeyman with the IBF strap before he suffered a defeat in Puerto Rico to one Liam Paro, who went on to be defeated by one Richardson Hitchens. Now, everybody is really excited about the card. It is a lit card. I do have to take my hat off because it's a bunch of names, people that we know and all that. A lot of people are kind of sketchy on the Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz because they don't really understand it. Right? Even though I think Hamza Shiraz is Turkey's guy and Edgar Berlanga has mass appeal. He's known as the knockout artist. I guess they're bringing him in to try to close the show or seeing if Hamza Shiraz can outbox the knockout artist who shared the ring with Canelo and went the distance with Canelo. Right? But I think that what's really not being spoken of as much is the value of Alberto Puello against Subriel Matias. Because if you think about it, Alberto Puello is a two-time champ. He got a strap with the WBA first against Bakhtir Akhmadov, and then he lost it to PED usage. No real outrage there, like with the Ryan Garcia stuff. And Subriel Matias, who used to be a boogeyman with his IBF strap, he actually lost his strap to Liam Paro, who went on to lose that strap to one Richardson Hitchens. The two of which were also getting ready to be in line to fight eliminator to fight Subriel. They went separate ways. Liam Paro doubled back, went into the backyard of Subriel Matias, put on the show, outworked Subriel, and Subriel was relieved of his strap. But as far as value, location, and all that, you have a Dominican against a Puerto Rican, right? I think Subriel tends to speak a little more English. He's getting, he's a funny guy, man. He's really trying, and you can understand. He really attempts to speak English and resonate. But as far as nutritional value, I think that this fight pretty much had the cachet to be the headliner, and with all intents purposes, it should have been the headliner. You're not going to really hear that because a lot of these guys are not really going to be pushing for these guys. Why? Because they're not going to frequent their channel. They're not going to really give any added value in the talks and all that. And people are just going to come around when it's their time to fight, get their interviews. Even though they are two of the powerhouses at 140 pounds. I'd probably say it goes neck and neck between 140 and 154 as far as the most competitive divisions. But these two guys are killers. I'm just excited that Subriel's getting another shot. A lot of people were jumping to conclusions and thinking, myself included, and thinking that Eddie turned on Subriel or cut ties with Subriel, and Subriel made it clear that no, he didn't. He can always go back. He just felt that the promotional company that he was with was going to be able to build him back up, and they knew what they were doing to get him back in the spot to be able to get a title. Now, he was just barking up the tree of one Richardson Hitchens because that's his former strap, but on this one, what's interesting is this is the WBC strap. There'll be no rehydration clause for this one, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of Subriel Matias are we going to get. He did bounce back from the loss against Liam Paro and came back and got 2 stoppages. He's right back at it again, and he's a very formidable opponent. I'm kind of interested in how this fight is going to play out, man, because Alberto Puello showed me a lot in the Gary Antoine Russell fight. Not too many people can go in the Lions Den and come out with their hand raised and be victorious against a guy like Gary Antoine Russell. I mean, we see what Gary Antoine was able to do with a boxer puncher like El Rayo. And shout out to El Rayo, man. I hope he bounced back. I think he's a key player in the game too. Nobody forgot about you. But I believe that this Puello and Subriel Matias fight is going to be very interesting because Sandor Martin, who was ducked and dodged, arguably beat T.O., dropped him twice. One of the knockdowns wasn't counted, pretty much edged him. He was able to have a lot of success against Alberto Puello early on in the round. But the thing is, Sandor Martin is like a pure boxer. I think if he had more power, Puello would have been in trouble. Just didn't have enough. And I think that Alberto Puello came on in the later rounds to actually edge the fight. That fight was very close. Somebody like myself can argue that Sandor won a draw, or the champ should just retain his title. You can argue that. But this is very interesting because of the style of Subriel Matias. Sometimes he'll let a front run where he'll let you have the first 3 or 4 rounds and pretty much punch yourself out, and then he'll start coming on. And even though they're a different skill set, he kind of like David Benavidez in a way to where he'll hit you anywhere, wear you down, never really gets tired, and he'll grind the gears down till he actually stop you. Because he's 22-2 with 22 KOs. So every fight that he's won big as far as ending the contest in some shape, form, or fashion. Retiring somebody on the stool, knocking him out, having a ref come in and stop it. So this is going to be very interesting. The skilled boxer who can punch and have some pop, that fights with his height, fight with his range, high boxing IQ against the mauler, who will come in there and hit you any and everywhere until it hurts all over. That's my initial breakdown, and I look forward to this fight. But again, what the man said in the beginning of this video, I don't think you're going to hear a lot of people say that. Why? Because, a lot of people are going to be biased. Even though I think the value in this fight should have warranted, a headline card, even though people are going to say they don't know these names. Get familiar. And if you get a chance, look at my series I've been doing. I got a series called The Row, which refers to the 140-pound division, where I go over some of the problems at 140, meaning fighters that are up next or present a problem for anybody in the ring. I take a honest assessment at the champions, and I'll say that how they mix it up. And on any given night, somebody can be beat at 140. That's just how competitive it is. But let me know in my comment section what you think about this. Remember, this is Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie. Fact-based content. Can you do your research on this guy? Are you excited about this card? How about Subriel Matias for jumping right back in the saddle and getting a shot at a strap? I appreciate that, man. And may the best man win. May the best man win. I hope Subriel has success. I hope Puello come to fight like he is, because Puello is really, I'm impressed by Puello and what he's doing. And both of these guys' resume collectively, if you do your homework, man, you will be very surprised at the names and the level of competition they fight and the level of success they've been able to have. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.